Hi there, friends. I'm Bean Burrito, and welcome to my Solarpunk world. This is episode 6, and today I'm going to be building a spiraling eco house and a custom dead tree with a dark secret. I'll also be doing a bit of terraforming and some prep work to get those builds ready, and I have a lot to talk about today. But in case you're not interested in listening to me talk, I'll be sure and add chapters to this episode so that you can skip around if you only want to watch certain parts of it. I haven't added chapters to any of my previous videos, but I thought it might be helpful in case anyone's only here to, check out the builds or anything like that. So be sure to check out the chapters if you don't want to listen to me talk, but if you're here to listen to me talk about things, then I'm gonna go ahead and hop right into it. As you can see, I'm currently at Francisco and Sylvester's house. If you did not see my last episode, Francisco sells fortune books and Sylvester sells silk touch books, and I am going to run in and do a little bit of trading with them because, as you also may recall from the last episode, I got diamonds, and so today I am going to be I'm going to be crafting diamond tools and diamond armor, and I want to make sure that I've got fortune and silk touch available for the diamond tools and diamond armor. And also, I do not have enough books, and for those of you who might not be keeping up with the series from the beginning, one of the aspects of this world is I am not intentionally killing friendly creatures. Therefore, I don't have easy access to leather at the moment, as I have not yet visited the Nether, and that also means I don't have easy access to books, which is why I just bought a bookshelf and destroyed it, because currently that is the easiest way I have to get books. And now I've got fortune and silk touch. I'm going to go ahead and get myself some diamond armor and diamond tools. So you are about to witness, for the very first time, I am crafting with diamonds. This is the first time in this world that I am making anything with diamonds. And there it is, my first diamond pickaxe. While I'm at it, I'm also going to go ahead and make a second one so I could have one for fortune, one for silk touch. And I don't have a ton of sticks on me at the moment, so I'm going to go ahead and make an axe for now, and that'll be all I craft for the tools. But I also need to craft... Why did I put all of those in there? I'm going to craft diamond armor. And last but not least, the boots. And with that, I just got the achievement, Cover Me with Diamonds. That is so exciting. For those who have been watching from the start, you know that I'm taking this series at a pretty slow and relaxed pace, but this is a big step for me. Episode 6, and I finally have diamonds. And I'm also going to get myself a fortune pickaxe. Fortuna. That was a typo, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it. We've got Fortuna, and I'm going to call this one Silky with a Q. Don't ask me why. So we've got Silky, and we've got Fortuna. Fortuna? I'm going to say Fortuna. No, Fortuna sounds better. And with that, I now have diamond armor and diamond tools for the very first time in this world. I am very excited about that. I've got my horse over here, and I'm going to ride him back to my base so I can put some things away. But with that being said, I've got a lot to talk about today. First and foremost, I want to talk about my audio situation. In my previous videos, I honestly did not put a ton of effort into the audio quality of my recordings. I've been primarily concerned with the video quality, and I've been going back and rewatching, and I have noticed that as I rewatch old videos, the audio quality definitely needs some improvement. I need to put more effort into the audio quality, which I have not been doing up to this point. So I spent a decent amount of time watching a bunch of tutorials and kind of researching different settings that I could adjust. I'm using OBS to record my videos and then DaVinci Resolve to edit my videos. I'm using the free version of both of those, so it's really awesome that those programs exist and are completely free. Also, this is a special diamond. It was the very first diamond that I ever got, so I'm keeping it separate. I don't want it to get jumbled in with the rest of my diamonds. For now, just so that it's kind of somewhere out of the way, I'm going to put it in this chest. So yeah, I'm using OBS and I'm using DaVinci Resolve, and prior to this video, I did not put much effort into the audio settings. And anyone who's watched my previous videos may have noticed that the audio quality was a little bit lacking. And so I spent a pretty good amount of time kind of studying, researching, watching videos, reading articles to figure out what I could do to make better audio quality. And I'm hoping that that really comes through in this episode. So anyone who's watched all my previous episodes and then watched this episode, please let me know if you notice a significant difference in the audio quality, because I am putting a lot of work into it. And I'm also going to try to put more effort into the video quality. I noticed in the last episode that the YouTube compression really compressed the video and made the video quality pretty bad. I don't think that it's done that in the previous episodes. I think it was really just that last episode, but I want to put in some extra steps to make sure that doesn't happen with any of my future videos. And at the moment, I'm just kind of running through the Villager Hotel, just kind of seeing how things are looking in here. But in regards to the audio quality, some other things that I did was I got a new keyboard and a new mouse. The keyboard that I was previously using was very clicky-clacky, and you could really hear the keyboard click every time I moved around. So I'm hoping this new keyboard is not as clicky-clacky. Please let me know if you notice any difference. And I also got a new mouse. This mouse is one of those more ergonomic mouses where it sits more vertical rather than flat, and it's also a lot quieter. I'm definitely adjusting to it. I've never used one of these ergonomic style mouses before, and there's definitely a bit of a learning curve as this is a very unfamiliar style of mouse. So please bear with me as I play through. If it seems like I'm kind of like jerky moving the controller around, it's not intentional. It's because I am adjusting to a new mouse, and I'm just not familiar with this mouse just yet. I've been running around just kind of all the different things that I've created. This is my Solarpunk hotel, and then this is the horse stable that I built in a previous episode. And yeah, so adjusting to a new mouse and a new keyboard that I'm hoping in the long run will result in better video quality, better audio quality, but for right now, just a bit of an adjustment. And so for today's episode, I mentioned that I'm going to be building a spiral eco house, and I'm going to be building a custom dead tree. And the reason I'm going with the dead tree, anyone who watched the episode where I built this tree over here, I took a little pause break while I was in the process of building this before I put the leaves on, because I just thought that the tree looked really cool before I added the leaves, and I was really excited about it. And I was so excited, in fact, that I decided I want to create another tree, and this time with no leaves. I just want to put a lot of effort into kind of the tree trunk itself, or I don't know if you'd call it a tree trunk, the base, I don't know. But it's going to be a dead tree, no leaves on it, and I'm really excited about that. And it's going to go on this hill right here. And in order to do that, I'm going to have to do some terraforming, so I need to remove all of these trees that are over here. And then for the spiral eco house, I spent a decent amount of time kind of wandering around looking for what would be a good place to build it. In my last episode, I demolished the village that was originally here, and so I was kind of looking around trying to figure out where would be a good place to build a new house, and I think I'm going to build it over here in this section, kind of nestled in this little hillside where currently there's a big cave opening. I'm going to cover this up and then do some terraforming, make this some nice flat terrain. And I think that this will be a good spot for the house that I'm going to build, and just going to have to do some terraforming to build up to that. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be terraforming this hill in a little bit. And, oh yeah, I forgot. I captured some of these guys in the last episode, so you keep your distance. I need to do something about those guys. I don't have any blocks on me. I'm gonna chop down some trees and just build them a little cage so that they can't hurt me. Okay, they are now secure. So as I was saying, I need to destroy all of the trees that are on this hill because I'm gonna be doing a little bit of terraforming. And I might as well take some of the leaves because I use a lot of leaves in my builds. I mentioned earlier that I'm putting a lot more work into the audio quality for this episode, and for anyone who's wondering more specifically what that means, I won't go into the boring details, but the quick basic need to know information is when I first started making these videos, I really didn't know anything at all about making videos, about mixing audio, anything at all. This is all very new to me, and I've been kind of learning as I go. And my first concern when I was making these videos was to make high quality videos, and I kind of neglected the audio portion of that. And, part of a high quality video is having high quality audio. So as I reflected back on my previous episodes, I realized that the audio quality was definitely subpar, and I wanted to fix that. And so I watched a bunch of tutorial videos, I read up on it, and I realized that there was one thing that I was not doing. And if there are any other video creators, content creators, or anyone who knows anything about audio mixing that are watching this, you are going to make fun of me so much for what I'm about to say. But I was not aware of the concept of noise suppression, expanders, compressors, and I'll spare you the details for anyone who doesn't really care that much about those things, but the basics are it helps to control audio levels more automatically. And up to this point, I've been doing it all very manually. I did not have any settings in place to kind of correct all of the different audio fluctuations, and therefore when I would record, when I would go back and have to edit the video, the audio needed a lot of work. Pretty much every time I raised my voice, I would have to manually fix that so that it's not, super overwhelming in the video. And that takes quite a bit of time. When I have like hour-long videos, it can take a long time to do all of that editing. And now that I've kind of learned how to utilize the noise suppression, the compressors, the expanders, things like that, it kind of automates a lot of that. So what that means is I will be able to get content out a lot faster because I'm not going to have to spend as much time editing. And it also means that on top of being able to get stuff out faster, the video or the audio quality is going to be a lot better. So I'm really excited about that. Sorry if that's kind of boring to a lot of the people out there, but it's something I'm really excited about. And then another thing that I just want to mention, kind of changing topics here, is I added a new mod, well, not new, but new to this world, called Distant Horizons, which let's see if from where I'm at right now, can't really see too far, but if I were to get up higher, you might be able to see farther. But I added this mod, Distant Horizons, which essentially just lets the view of the world render much farther out. So especially if I'm ever up high on like a mountaintop or a hilltop or something, you'll be able to see really far into the horizon. So I'm excited to have that added on. I think it's going to kind of make the world feel more dynamic and exciting, and I'm just excited to have that added in. And at the time of recording this episode, I just recently surpassed 100 subscribers, and I cannot even begin to express how thankful I am for that. When I first came up with the idea to create this channel, I thought to myself, like, oh, maybe, in 1 year's time, maybe I'll have like 5 or 10 subscribers, and maybe, each of my videos might get like 15 views. And I was like, I'd be happy with that. And here we are, just a few months in, and I've got over 100 subscribers. I never would have imagined that. And I am just so thankful for everyone. It means a lot to me. And, my first 2 videos, especially, those first 2 videos each got over 1,000 views. I never would have imagined that. That is wild to me. The views have kind of slowed down a little bit on my more recent episodes, and I was trying to kind of figure out, what's changed between those first episodes where I was getting over 1,000 views to my last few episodes just getting, a few hundred views, not quite as many. And I looked back and was kind of analyzing things, and one thing that I noticed in those first 2 videos, I noticed that I talked a lot more just about, random chit-chat, small talk. I wasn't, in my more recent videos, I've mainly just talked about what I'm building, what I'm doing, and haven't really gone off on, the little side tangents and the things that, in those first few episodes, I would get really distracted and just talk about stuff. I kind of stayed away from that for the later episodes because I thought, oh, that might bore people. People don't want to hear that. But I don't know, maybe people do want to hear it, considering those first 2 episodes got way more views than the newer episodes. So for this one, I wanted to try that approach of just kind of chit-chatting a little bit more, kind of talking, saying what's on my mind, and see if that, you know, resonates with the people that are watching this. So if you're watching this video, let me know what you think. If you like this format where, you know, right now I'm not really doing anything exciting. I'm just cutting down trees, and while I cut down the trees, I'm also, hey, you get off of there. While I cut down the trees, I'm just kind of chatting about what I'm thinking about. You know, my goal is not to make it rich as a YouTuber or anything like that. I know that that's you know, lofty dream, and I'm just here to have a good time. But part of that is I want to make content that people enjoy. So even if I never make it big and it's just, you know, a few hundred followers, I want to make sure that the stuff that I'm putting out is good quality for the people who do watch it. So let me know if you like this kind of style where I'm just kind of keeping things leisurely, doing menial tasks while chit-chatting about what's on my mind. And that's also why I decided to add chapters to this video, so that if you don't care about this, where I'm just talking about boring stuff, you can kind of skip around. I also noticed that if I look at the analytics of my videos, a lot of people haven't really been making it past my intros. So all of my videos up to this point, I have kind of those intro scenes where I just do kind of nice, calm, casual footage of things going on in my world. I put some lo-fi beats on, and it's usually like 30 to 45 seconds of just kind of like relaxing footage with relaxing music. But the thing is, when I look at my analytics, a lot of people don't even make it past 25 seconds, and I think that a lot of people are just getting bored with those intros before they even get to the part where I start talking. So in this episode, I kind of decided to make the intro a little bit shorter. I think I only made it like maybe 15, 20 seconds and then got into the talking. So I'm going to see if that, you know, if the audience reacts better to that, if people prefer that shorter intro. My initial thought when I made those intros to begin with was that, you know, the vibe of these videos is slow pace, relaxing, calm, and I wanted the intro to set that tone with the music kind of casually taking its time before I start getting into content. But if people aren't even making it past the intro, did you see that horse clutch? Didn't even take damage. If people aren't even getting past the intro to the point where I start talking, then, you know, what's the point of having that long, casual, calm, relaxing intro? So I'm going to try this approach, shorter intro, just get right to the business and see if people stick around longer. So yeah, I would love to, anyone who's actually watching this part of the video, listening to me ramble on right now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything I've said so far, if you agree with what I've said or if you disagree. My goal is just, I want to put out content that people will like and people will appreciate, and yeah, overall, I just want this to be good content. I have finally come up with a name for my world. And I know we are now on episode 6 and I am just now coming up with a name. I'm a little late to the game on that, but you know, better late than never. It seems weird to have a world that doesn't have a name. My series up to this point, I've just been calling it Solarpunk Minecraft, and you know, that's not very unique, not very original. So I've been thinking about what would be a good name for the world, and after some thought, I have come up with the name Soul Valley. And I'll spell that out across the screen, but that's S-O-L. So it's not S-O-U-L, but S-O-L. And the reason I went with that, in case some of you might not be aware, a lot of people actually refer to the name of our sun in our solar system as Sol. So to a lot of people, that is the name of our sun, and that is actually the Latin word for sun. So I went with Soul Valley because Sol is a name for our sun, and Valley just because we are kind of in a valley here nestled between all the mountains out there. I think it's got a nice ring to it. Soul Valley kind of flows off the tongue and it fits in with the vibe. And I need to watch out because I feel like, yeah, stuff can spawn down here and I don't want something sneaking out and hurting me. And I'm gonna probably start using that as like the episode names instead of saying Solarpunk Minecraft episode 6. I think I'm gonna call this Minecraft Soul Valley will be the name of the series moving forward. And I know that's a bit unorthodox. another cave that I need to make sure to light up so stuff doesn't sneak out on me. I know it's a bit unorthodox, I'm on episode 6 and I'm just now coming up with a name for the series, but I don't know, better late than never. I kind of wanted to wait until I had a vibe of, what the world's vibe is like before I come up with the name. It seemed weird to give it a name before I even knew what was going on in the world. So now that I've got some stuff going on, I've got my base, I've got the hotel, some of the villagers are getting houses, I figure it's about time to give it a name, and that name is going to be Soul Valley. Okay, so I literally just got done sitting with those guys, breaking their crossbows, and then a new patrol party just showed up. I think I've got enough of these guys at this point. I'm just gonna go ahead and try to kill these guys. All right, he's dead. He's dead. Only one more left. Let me eat a potato. And they must have heard that I just broke the crossbows of these guys and had to come and defend their honor. Okay, so those guys are now gone. They showed up. Oh, that's not bad. Piercing 2. So now I've got 2 ominous banners. I did decide to go ahead and kill that raid captain that was in there as well. So I've got 2 ominous bottles now. We've got Bad Omen and we've got Bad Omen 4. Not bad. But the 2 guys that are in these have been neutralized. Their crossbows are now broken, so they are no longer a threat. So I'm going to go ahead and move them. Oh, we got another guy down here. Get you. And he's dead. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get those guys relocated to where the rest of the villagers are, the rest of the pillagers are. But while I'm here, I finished cutting down all the trees. But then I also went through in all the little caves that were around here and lit them up so that I don't have to worry about creepers or, there's hostile mobs spawning in the caves and sneaking up on me while I'm working in this area. But now I'm going to go ahead and move these 2 villagers over. I keep saying villagers. I'm going to get these 2 pillagers moved over to the little pit that I have the other pillagers in, just so that they're out of the way until I guess I reach a point that I'm ready to start using them. So I will do that really quick, and then I think it's time to get started with the terraforming. So I want to get this area where I'm standing terraformed, and I'm going to go ahead into free cam to kind of show what I'm looking at. So this area here, I'm going to get terraformed into something a lot nicer, where I'm going to build my dead tree upon this hill right here. And then over here, I need to get this entire cave covered up. And I think maybe right around here is where I'm going to build the eco house. So I'm going to move these pillagers, and then I'm going to get started with the terraforming, and I'll just jump into a time lapse for the terraforming. And then once the terraforming is complete, we'll check back in and see where we're going next. Oh, pig jumped in the boat. Oops. Okay, so I finished the terraform over here for the hill upon which the dead tree is going to sit, and I'm almost done with the terraform here. I just kind of wanted to explain what was going on here for those who might not know why I did this double layer like this. So underneath me right here is a giant cave, and I put this layer of cobblestone, then a little bit of an air gap, and then I'm putting a layer of dirt. And the reason for that is, let's say that I'm up here and a creeper sneaks up behind me and I don't see it and it explodes. I don't want to fall down into a giant cave below if there's just one layer of dirt protecting me from falling down into a cave. Or let's say that I'm, making a path and not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm walking by, digging up, and then, oh no, I only fall a few blocks rather than, falling into a giant cave. Who knows how deep it could be. And I also went through in that cave and lit everything up. So if I come right here and just open this just to kind of go to the cave down below. I made sure to light it all up so that mobs don't spawn down here, just because even though it's, you know, in a secure area, I still want to keep it as mob proof as possible. I did the same thing for the cave over there because there was a second cave over there, and now I've just been running through adding the top layer, which this is going to be the layer that's actually, you know, what the world sees, and I'm just using dirt because I know that grass is going to fill in. Although I do have silk touch now and I can actually get grassy blocks, which is nice, I don't feel the need to use them because I know that it won't take that long for the grass to kind of fill in. So I'm going to finish this, and then the next step is I need to get some jack-o'-lanterns and light up this entire surrounding area, because up to this point I've mainly just lit up the stuff over that way, which I don't feel like going over there at the moment, but I haven't really done much in lighting up this far out this direction, and I want to make sure that when I start to build here, that this area is just as mob-proof as the other parts of the village that I've built. That way, when I have villagers over here, I don't have to worry about zombies sneaking up on them. I don't have to worry about zombies and creepers sneaking up on me while I'm trying to build here. So I'm going to finish this last little bit of dirt right here, which not very much left at all. And then once I finish this little bit right here, I'm going to run through and do my typical jack-o'-lanterns with moss over the top, and I will make sure to replace all of these torches as well. Because as I've been doing all throughout this build, I much prefer this approach where I put moss carpet down and then put a jack-o'-lantern underneath. That way it's not as visible, kind of more subtle and discreet. So I'm going to do that now, kind of all up along this hillside, a little ways out that way, just to make sure that this area is as mob-proof as possible. Alright, I got all of the jack-o'-lanterns that I could placed all around here. It's now raining and it's dark. Oh, and a wandering trader has showed up. Let's see if he's got anything good, and I'll also take his leads from him. Nothing that I'm really excited about. Alright, 2 more free leads. Alright, so back to what I was saying. Let me take a little zoom out here. I put lights pretty far up and pretty far out. Oh, that's a little, there we go. So the eco house is going to go right here, and I spread lights kind of all the way around. Here's the hill that I just kind of terraformed, and also if anyone remembers, there was a kind of weird little outcropping here that I went ahead and terraformed just to kind of smooth it out. I still need to replace that with grass, but did a second wandering trader just show up? I don't think I've ever seen that before. 2 wandering traders side by side. Rooted dirt. Yeah, still nothing. That's interesting. Even more free leads. I will take them. Neat. Alright. So many free leads. But anyway, I've got this area kind of ready to go, and in this chest over here, I've got a bunch of deep slate and smooth stone. That's going to be the bulk of what I use to build this little eco house. While I was terraforming, I also noticed that up here there is a gray sheep, and I'm going to be using gray wool, so that works out nicely. I'm going to go ahead and put a leash on this guy, and there he is. I'm going to put a leash on this guy and take him over to that eco area so that I can just shear him as I need, because that will be convenient, having easy access to a gray sheep. So the color palette, I decided since the first few builds that I did was kind of lighter colors, I want to do kind of a darker color palette for this build. So that's why I'm doing the deep slate brick. I'm also going to be sprinkling in some other colors to kind of complement it, and gray wool is going to be one of those colors that I sprinkle in. And I don't have any wood to make a fence post. But as you notice, I've got some dark oak saplings in my inventory. I'm going to be using some dark oak in this build as well. And since I need a fence post, I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of this dark oak right now and make a fence post so that I can tether this guy up. Alright, you wait right there. I don't have any shears on me at the moment, so I'll have to run back to my base and grab shears, but that's kind of the next thing I'm doing, is just gathering some dark wood, and I actually don't want to deal with this dark and rain, so I'm going to head back, sleep through the night, grab some shears, then come back and do the last little bit of resource gathering, and then it'll be time to get started working on this eco house that I've been talking about. Alright, I've pretty much done all the resource gathering, so this is the bulk of what's going to be used to build this eco house, and then after I'm done building the house itself, I'll get all this stuff to kind of decorate it and make it look cozier. But it's going to be a pretty dark color palette, so it's going to be primarily deep slate bricks. I'm going to be sprinkling in some polished deep slate, some mud, some cobbled deep slate, and then the accents are going to be dark oak, so it's going to have dark oak floors and then dark oak features. And then the ceiling inside the house is going to be smooth stone. I just thought that there should be something with a little bit of a lighter color, at least somewhere in the house, and I thought the ceiling would be a good place for that. So now that I've got all this, the last thing I need is just more gray wool. I've got 9 so far, but I don't think I'm going to let that hold me back from building. So I think I'm going to get started building, and then just anytime I notice that the sheep eats grass, I'll run over and grab some more wool from it. So with that being said, I think I'm going to hop into a time lapse here and get started building this eco house. Let's go. Okay, and here we have it. I planted a few dark oak trees kind of around the house to kind of tie in the fact that it has dark oak as kind of the accent. And before I take a step in closer, I want to give an aerial view to kind of show this house from different angles. So I'm going to hop into free cam here. And first and foremost, I want to show just directly from the top. So this is the view from the top, and as you can see, it's a very small footprint. It has grass that goes all the way up, so the idea is for an eco house, this doesn't really have a huge impact on the land. There's grass that goes all the way up, so it allows the grass to kind of continue, so it's good for the environment, and I thought that that was a really fun concept, and because it spirals up, you could theoretically walk all the way up. And then on the top, we've just kind of got this rooftop little, I don't know what you'd call this, pergola, pagoda, I don't know. Whatever you call this, just little covered area where you could come and relax, enjoy a nice little picnic break or whatever you want to do. But I thought that was a fun concept to have a house that spirals up and allows the grass to kind of go up so that it really minimizes how much of an impact it has on the land. And then if we come over to this side, it's kind of built into this hillside. So as it comes down, the hill kind of incorporates the house. So that kind of factors in another eco house aspect that, you know, theoretically, if you live somewhere where the climate is either hot or cold, this could add some layers of geothermal, you know, heating or cooling, insulation. If you live in a hot environment, it keeps it cooler. If you live in a cool environment, it keeps it warmer, just due to the geothermal temperature from the ground itself. So that kind of makes it a little bit of a more a little bit of an eco house. But let's take a closer look and kind of talk about what we did. And as you can see, there's a couple villagers in there. I'll talk about them later. But before we step inside, let's take a look at the outside. It took me quite a while to get all the wool I needed. That gray sheep over there was very stingy with his wool, but the color palette that I went with was primarily deep slate bricks and then occasionally some mud and, oh yeah, I got tripwires here to keep the vines from spreading. Some gray wool and mud, and then I also occasionally sprinkled in some polished deep slate and some cobbled deep slate is mixed in. As we go up, I wanted to keep the ground as natural looking as possible, and since they don't really have grass slabs, I went with mossy cobblestone and mossy stone slabs. But as we work up, I tried to make some cool window patterns with the dark oak trapdoors. There's lanterns kind of sprinkled about just to make sure that it's lit up and mob proof. More windows here, and most of the windows I just kind of went with that dark oak setup. And so as we spiral up, just getting higher and higher, I made sure every door was blocked with sweet berries underneath moss so that the villagers inside can't get out and the mobs that spawn outside can't get in. And I think I mob-proofed the area well enough, pretty far out. Oh, and there is another wandering trader. They're really showing up in numbers lately. Oh, we got some little bees up there. Hey there, bees. So now we're up at the top, and I just kind of wanted to make this a little cozy spot, so I threw down a campfire. I thought about maybe trying to throw down a picnic table or just something to make it, you know, a little cozy spot, but I thought that after some consideration, I think it's nice to just kind of have the grass and kind of a little garden area. So now let's head back down and check out the inside of this eco house. So if we step in here, this is the bedroom. We just got 2 beds up here, some lanterns, and I just kind of went with a lot of the same decorating styles that I've done in the previous builds, where lots of leaves, pots, potted plants, lanterns, paintings on the wall. And we've got a nice spiraling staircase that spirals down to the basement, which I decorated similarly with glowberries, leaves, paintings. And once we get to the bottom, we got this window here with the dark oak trapdoors. And as we turn the corner into the main living area, we have Edward and Bill. And Edward and Bill have some life philosophies. The reason they wanted to build this eco house, they're very concerned with, you know, efficiency in terms of energy efficiency and, you know, just in general being as efficient as possible, but also sustainability. A big part of a solarpunk society is that things need to be sustainable. You want them to be built to last, and so they want to build things efficiently, but they want to make sure that the things they build are durable and strong and going to be around for a while. And therefore, Edward sells Efficiency 5 books because he's really into efficiency. Pretty good price too, 19 emeralds. And then Bill over here sells Unbreaking 3, also pretty good price for 11 emeralds. And so again, this was kind of behind the scenes. I just went over to the farmers at the Solarpunk Hotel, got a bunch of emeralds by trading carrots and watermelons and wheat, things like that. And then once I had a full stack of emeralds, I just re-rolled their trades until they eventually gave me the books that I wanted. But so now, whenever I need them, I can come over here to this little eco house, meet up with Edward or Bill to get Unbreaking and or Efficiency 5 so that I could apply those to my tools. And then I kind of decorated the place, just kind of odds and ends. This is where a bunch of my supplies were that I was using to decorate with. These are kind of the leftover supplies. But most of this is just meant to be kind of decorative, and I would like to do more decorating as time goes on, but right now I'm still kind of limited in what blocks I have available to me. So as I start to get more blocks, I might put more stuff on these shelves here. And I put the 2 beds upstairs, but I wanted to put one more down here. I don't know if their pathfinding will be able to get them all the way up these stairs or not, because that is a pretty long way to get, and I just don't know how smart their pathfinding is. So I wanted to make sure they had 1 bed down here as well in case they needed to sleep. But yeah, so this is the house of Bill and Edward, and they sell me Efficiency 5 and Unbreaking 3. And I also wanted to add in some blast furnace, regular furnace, and smoker. Since they are concerned with efficiency and sustainability, I thought that they would also be a good place to set up some auto smelters. But unfortunately, I just don't have a ton of iron at the moment, so I need to do some iron mining so that I can make hoppers. But I plan to turn these into auto smelters where I just have hoppers that feed everything into them. And I also added some lava cauldrons down here. So if ever I need to auto smelt anything, I could just run over here to the eco house and throw some stuff in the auto smelter and then come back when I need it. And then, yeah, so back here, like I said, this is just kind of an extra bedroom. And over here, we've got our little fireplace and more just decorations. None of this is really meant to serve any actual purpose. It's just meant to kind of look fun. I did another one of those rug type designs where I used some glazed terracotta with cyan wool to make kind of a rug on the ground. I thought that looked fun. And again, over here, same kind of thing with sweet berries covered by carpet so that the villagers can't get out and hostile mobs can't get in. So I thought this was just a fun build, a fun take on an eco house. This is actually very loosely inspired by some houses that I saw just kind of Google searching. If you just do a Google image search of like spiral eco house, you'll see similar ideas to this where the house spirals out of the ground and there's grass that goes all the way up. And I just thought this was fun. It incorporates the land into the build, focusing on efficiency and sustainability. And I just thought this was really fun. So now that this is done and I've got my Efficiency 5 and my Unbreaking 3 books as well, I can add those to some diamond tools, which I don't know if I want to add these to the Silk Touch, just considering it's already a third of the way done, but maybe I'll add it to Fortune. And either way, I'm excited to have those. And so now the next step is I am going to build this dead tree on this hill over here, which is another thing I'm excited about. And this tree is going to be a very large tree, much bigger than the one over there, but it's not going to have leaves, so that'll speed up the process a little bit in terms of building it, because putting leaves on was probably the most time-consuming part. And if we zoom out just to get a look at this landscape, I wanted to make sure that this was nice and smoothed over. Also, a little throwback in case anyone watching this has not seen some of my previous episodes. This hole in the ground here goes down to a spider farm that's pretty deep underground, which I plan on, building something to cover this up so it's not just a weird looking hole in the ground. But for the time being, it's just a hole in the ground. But I wanted to make sure that all the edges were kind of rounded and smoothed and looked kind of nice and clean, compared to before. If anyone remembers, there were some sharp, jagged edges, some caves and stuff like that. So I just kind of tried to make it look more natural, more organic. I still haven't done the backside over here, so that will be done soon. But for right now, I just wanted to focus on the front side. And so the tree is going to be right here and built up. But with that being said, I just need to go grab some resources, and then I think it's time to get started with this build. It's primarily going to be andesite is going to be the main resource. But then it'll also feature some other stuff, some tuff, some cobblestone, some diorite, things like that. So I'm going to gather my resources really quick, and then it's time to get started building this tree. And I've got plenty of andesite, so that'll work out great. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and gather these resources and then hop into a little time lapse. So I'll see you on the other side. Alright, and there we have it. It is currently nighttime, so it's kind of hard to see, but I think that's a cool outline for the nighttime. But I'm going to head up and actually go to sleep so that we can wake up in the morning and see this in the daytime. Alright, and let's head back down and see how it looks in the light of day. Wow. I am very happy with that. Let's zoom in a little bit. So as you can see, I used quite a combination of blocks, primarily andesite, but also mixed in cobblestone, gravel, gray wool, And then when I'd get towards the end of branches, I wanted to make them kind of turn whiter the farther out they went. So use diorite and then pale oak trapdoors. And then I put a lightning rod at the top of one of these. I don't remember which one. It might be hidden back there, but I just thought it would be cool to see at during a thunderstorm if there was a good lightning strike hitting the top. There it is. So if we zoom in, I put it on one of the tallest ones. So I think that'll be cool if there's a thunderstorm, seeing lightning strike down on the tree. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I spent a while browsing Google Images, looking at pictures of dead trees and tried to use those for inspiration. Tried to make sure that branches were going out all different directions and, you know, had cool curves to them. I'm really happy with how the trunk turned out. Let's hop into FreeCam and get a better view from all angles. I also went ahead and made a little trail connecting my base to the eco house and also over here to the tree. I still need to do some decorating, landscaping around the trail, get some plants and flowers and other decorations around. But for now, at least I've got the trail. And so as we get in closer, I used a lot of slabs, walls, and stairs to kind of help soften the angles, you know, compared to if I were to just do nothing but solid blocks, it would look very blocky, I guess is the best way to put it. And using a combination of slabs, fences, and stairs, it kind of helps to soften those sharp angles and make the curves look a little, you know, more natural and curvy. And some angles look better than others, but overall I'm really happy with how this turned out, and especially when looking at it from the front view. So if we were to look at it from where I'm standing right now, back to my normal view, I think this turned out exactly how I want it, and I'm really happy with that. The one thing that I'm a little, I won't say disappointed, but this hill in the background right here can kind of interfere with the view of it, so trying to get to a good spot where I can view it without that being in the background. But yeah, I'm really happy. If we run up closer, I decorated around the base to kind of make it look like there were roots all in the ground, just using tuff, cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, things like that. So this is kind of meant to just look like the roots in the ground. Oh, I don't know why I did that like that. That doesn't look that great. I'll fix that later. But another thing I noticed while I was working way up there, as I recently mentioned, I have recently added the Distant Horizons mod, and that allows me to see much farther into the horizon, as the name might imply. And while I was up high working on this tree, I noticed something far off on the horizon that I did not know was there. So I just want to get up high so I can show that. And so here we are at the top of the tree. I also made sure to mob proof it, got some glow lichen and random spots to make sure that it's all lit up and that there's nothing that can spawn up here. And so what I came up here to show, off in the horizon over there, we have got a pillager outpost. And that is not too far from my base, you know, coming from here. We've also got a ruined nether portal down there that I'll have to take care of at some point. But that's pretty exciting that now I know exactly where I can find a pillager outpost not too far from my base. So that should give me easy access to, you know, like ominous potions, things like that. But yeah, so this is the view from the top of the tree and all of the different color blocks that I used to build it. So let's head back down to the ground. So as we wander around to the front, now we've got our little eco house over here. I've got the trail. I'll probably decorate between episodes, just, you know, bone meal and then add kind of the same way that I've done all these other ones, add flowers and decorations, things like that, just so that the trail is nice and decorated. Oh, wait, this kind of looks like a door, and this kind of looks like a pressure plate. What's going on here? It opened. Is this a staircase? Is this going down to something? This is kind of sketchy. I'm not going in there just yet. I think we'll save that for next episode. I think that's going to do it for this episode. As always, thank you so much to everyone who watched. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you have any feedback on my eco house or on the tree that I built, or just any feedback in general, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment, like the video. If you like this, please subscribe. That way when I post the next video, you can see what happens when I explore underneath this tree and see what kind of mystery it's hiding. But until then, thank you again, and I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.